The Panasonic Lumix has a ton of different recording modes, and it might be overwhelming at first. You have different frame rates, 60 FPS, 30 FPS, 24 FPS, and then slow-mo such as like 120 and higher. Well, you can actually slow-mo down like 60 FPS to 30 and it becomes like 2 times slow motion. But you got your different frame rates, and then you need to know, am I using the full image sensor? Am I using the full 3x2? Or am I using a crop mode, APS-C? Or I've never used pixel by pixel, but that one is even more cropped in. So you have your image sensor, you have your different frame rates, and then you gotta think about your codec. So are you gonna be using ProRes, which is all Intra? Each frame is a full image, like ProRes, or are you gonna use like MOV with all Intra? Or are you gonna use something compressed, like H.265 or H.264? Are you gonna be editing your videos after? Are you gonna be using any post-production, any kind of coloring or anything like that? Or are you just gonna transfer it to your phone already baked in with a LUT, maybe a custom LUT that you have, or a custom LUT that you can find for free on my Linktree with your Kodak film LUT. And then you're gonna send it to your smartphone and then upload it to social media. Is that what you're doing? Then you can use the brand new, with the newest firmware, the MP4 Lite. What about big file sizes? If you're using ProRes all Intra, one of those two options, you're gonna have huge file sizes. I mean, they're big. I use an external SSD with my camera, and it's just actually I think I could show you. It's on a small cable here. It's one of these, you can't really see it. It's one of these SanDisks, and I got it at Costco, and it's like 1 terabyte, and now they have a 2 terabyte option. So I'm not too worried about file sizes, but I don't want to transfer 200 gigabytes or more when I do like long recording sessions to my computer. And I mean, if you're using DaVinci Resolve, you can easily do like a timeline. I don't know, it's like a compacting thing. I forgot what it's called. It's like you take your timeline, media management, and you take all your used clips, plus or minus maybe like 50 frame handles, and you render it down into like H.265, and it deletes the rest. It's like timeline management. So you can save space like that, and it'll store everything for you in a specific place. But I don't feel like doing that either. I record in a compressed H.2 MOV. I'm not sure if it's H.264, H.265. Panasonic in their manual, they show that they'll switch between 265 or 264, just depending if it's 422 or 420, or they switch between the two. So these are all considerations you have to take in when you're trying to pick the correct video format that you want to record in. Like I said, if you're using so let's break it down. If you're not editing, you're not doing any post-production, the real-time LUT function, which we can do on this camera, which bakes in a LUT completely ready to go, ready for post, like to upload, that's gonna be your best option if you don't want to do any editing with your videos. Or maybe you just want to cut them up and upload it, right? You're editing on your phone, editing on a laptop, just edit, upload, right? Real simple. MP4 Lite, that's gonna record 4K, only 50 megabits per second. AAC audio, I think like 16-bit AAC audio, and yeah, it's only 50 megabits per second, and it's MP4, so it's gonna transfer to your phone. You're gonna be able to play it on any device. It's not gonna be huge file sizes, and it's 4K, and it's a full aspect ratio 3x2. So you'll definitely you're using the full open gate on the sensor, but you have to crop it down. Well, you don't have to crop it down. You can upload it like straight up, like with the aspect ratio. But depending on what platform you're uploading to, such as like Instagram or TikTok, vertical, or YouTube, you might want to crop it down. If you plan on doing any kind of post-production workflow, it will be just as good to do H.264, H.265, something compressed where you can. Hold on one sec. I think we're at post-production workflow. Yeah, so if you're doing post-production workflow, then you can easily, if you're using post-production workflow, you can easily do H.264 or H.265 video compressed, and you'll probably, if you're gonna do some kind of color grading, you could use 422 chroma subsampling or 420. I mean, it depends if you're gonna be doing any keying or anything like this, like masking. It'll probably be more important if you're doing masking and things like that. But 420 works just as fine as well. works perfectly good for me. And those files are not going to be huge. I personally have not used any of the Intra codecs because of their large file sizes, but those are available to you. They're like 600 megabit and higher. I think the highest ProRes option is like 1.9 gigabit per second. Now, you might be doing some serious production, but if you're doing serious production on this camera, you're probably not watching this video. So that's 1.9 gigabit per second, and most likely you're good on storage, you're good. So you could use whatever you want. But you know, maybe for us normies, you know, people who are not doing high end, like, would you stop scratching the tire, buddy? Man, this scratch and post is my tire for these cats. But for us normies who are not doing huge budgets, we want to save file space. But the thing is, when we're saving file space, when we're saving storage by using compressed, we have to decompress it. So those Intra codecs, they're going to be super fast at editing, super fast, ultra fast. You don't need to do any decompression on any of those frames, so you're going to be editing super quickly. Because we're using the compressed footages like H.264 or 5, the MOV format or MP4, not Intra where it says all I, then we have to decompress, and we're going to want some kind of hardware like a GPU. We're definitely going to want some kind of GPU hardware decoding if you're going to be using DaVinci Resolve. I believe you get hardware decoding for free with DaVinci Resolve. It's hardware encoding that may be studio feature only. I'll double check. You know, I'll just check right now. The free tier of DaVinci Resolve allows you to edit and finish videos up to 60 frames per second and resolutions as high as Ultra HD, which is 3840 by 2160. It uses GPU acceleration for hardware encoding during rendering. It says it allows you to decode and edit with 8-bit video formats. Hardware accelerated decoding for H.264 and 265 is more limited in the free version on Windows. So the studio version adds multi-GPU support, professional 10-bit and higher codec encoding and decoding. So if you're using this is very important, I guess. If you're using the 10-bit formats and you have DaVinci Resolve and you have a great GPU, but you don't have the studio version, it's going to be harder for you to play back those videos because you're not going to actually be using the GPU decode. So this is the thing about the compressed video. We're saving space, but we need the more computational power. Now, there is always a workaround if you're going to still use the compressed codecs. You can make proxies. And luckily for us, Panasonic allows you to make proxies if you're recording, well, I think you do both, but I'm recording to the external SSD, which I showed you earlier, and I'm recording proxies at like 1080p, very tiny, like 6 megabits per second, very tiny, to the SD card. I load up my files from the SD, my external SSD. I put them on my computer. You can even edit off the SSD, but I put them on my computer just to save them for later. And I put in my SD card as well. I move those over to my C drive, my C drive is my fastest, my NVMe drive. And I link the proxies with the SSD, the main footage, and I edit using the proxies. So that's gonna be way faster for editing. So just because we're using the compressed doesn't mean you even need super good hardware. You can even edit on lower, not as fast hardware, not as big of a GPU and whatnot, as long as you're using proxies. It's gonna take a lot longer to render, but you can still edit quickly using proxies. So there's a trade-off here. As you see, as the file size goes up, it's easier to edit because all the data is there. You see, all the data is there. Let's say 200 gigs, 100 gigs. Like I think an hour is like 200 something gigs of like all Intra, an hour video. Now, if you compressed all that down, you have to do a lot of math, drop it down, drop it down, drop it down, drop it down. Now you're at 25, 50 gigs. So what do you think? That data is not really missing. They just, well, there's some of it is like a little missing, but that data is not all missing. It's not how it works. So it's actually been compressed. So now when we bring that back onto our computer and it's only 50 gigs, we need to decompress it back to its original size. That's not exactly how it works. It's just metaphorically. You could see that we have this much data. We've dropped it down to this much. So what does it take to move something from this much data to this much data? We need to do all that computation, which means we need a GPU and whatnot, faster hardware. So there's a trade-off here. between the higher file size and the lower file size and the computation power required to work on those videos. For me, when I do client work for some of my customers, I will record in 17:9 4K, and it will be in vlog so I can edit later. Actually, let me find the exact mode right here. I use let's see, yeah, C4K, right? C4K, which is 4096 by 2160 pixels. It's a 17:9 aspect ratio, and I crop it down a little bit. I could either make it like a 2:1 for like super wide cinematic, or I can leave it 17:9 or move it down to 16:9. There's different ways you can crop it down. 30 FPS, and I use the Long GOP. So that one, 409617, 422. So it's C4K, 30p, 422, 10L. That is AVC. So that's recording at 150 megabits per second in H.264. That's what I'm recording in right now. I find this to be the good trade-off between the file size, and I also record in proxies. I also record in a proxy like I mentioned. If I'm just like vlogging and I want to just take a quick video, send it to my phone, what I'll do is I'll plug in my SSD, put it into my phone, and move that file over. I use the new MP4 Lite feature, and those are good. Those are perfect. Big size, high quality, ready to go, transfers quickly, upload it to social media. They're gonna downsize it anyway. It's gonna go down to 1080p. It's gonna go down to whatever, right? I'm not making a movie for TikTok or for Instagram, so that is more than enough. It's gonna look, and just using the camera itself already looks way better than pulling out, my little phone. This lens is not gonna get you the kind of quality we saw earlier in the video. Now, I know this video is more of like I guess like a talk and chill kind of video, but hopefully you'll understand now the thought process that it comes to when you're trying to pick through all these different recording formats. Luckily, also, Panasonic offers the filtering, so you could filter very easily for what you want to pick. Yeah, I found it. So when you go to record quality, and you can hit display on the back of the camera, and then you could choose between like the frame rate or the resolution that you want or the compression format, and it's gonna easily help you figure out what you need. But now I've already gave you basically the basics of what to choose when doing what. Social media stuff, MP4 Lite, you're good to go, ready to go. No post-production necessary. Probably not even good for post-production. Switch to the compressed formats if you want to save space. You're a normie. You're not making huge, cinematic like movies. You're not delivering like crazy stuff like that. Use the compressed formats. 422 or 420, I found that it doesn't have much difference, so you don't have to worry too much about those. There's definitely, I'm gonna link some video below about the difference between 422 and 420 and how it affects your videos. And then you could choose between either, and if you don't really care about file size, you're doing all that stuff, yeah, big work, right? Big work. Switch to ProRes or switch to the all Intra codecs. Most likely you're gonna be doing ProRes. Get your SD cards, probably your NVMe SSD, and record at that 1.9 gigabit per second, and you're gonna be good. And you could do whatever you want with your terabyte of video for your one project. So thank you again for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and join me as we continue to learn about this camera, about photography, videography. I also have some other tips, and we're really trying to just build this channel, God willing. Thank you again for joining me. And if there's any questions you have, anything you want to learn, let me know down below. This is something I found that was confusing for me when I first started, so I definitely wanted to introduce and well, I also kind of wanted to make something cinematic in the beginning because my retention be low. The retention on YouTube be low, so maybe if I put a little something cinematic in the beginning, you guys will stick with me a little more. Again, thank you again for watching, and see you in the next video.